One of the most powerful aspects of the wonderful writings of Lao Tzu in the Tao Te Ching, this 2,600-year-old book of poetry that describes the way things are, is just that. It describes, from careful observation and deep, penetrating self-knowledge, that this is how the cosmos, the quantum field, the universe, the Tao, God, this is how it unfolds, this is how it works. It is not a book about how we wish it would work, or how we can use certain principles and strategies to get it to work the way we think it should work. It is a book about how it does work. And rather than the strategies for getting it to come into line, it is a book of gentle encouragement for us to come into line, because that's the only way that we're going to find a happy and tranquil life and continue as a human species. I've been working the last few days with chapter 4. This is the poem. Walking this path, we experience inexhaustible energy. From what appears an empty void, we find the bounty of life. Our edginess, tension, anger, and turmoil begin to settle down. In their place, we find a deep tranquility that has been here waiting since before the beginning of beginningless time. That key phrase, from what appears to be an empty void, is central to this little poem. One way of looking at that empty void is what many religious traditions call the dark night of the soul, an intense descent into despair and hopelessness, in which all trust is lost, and depression settles in, and depression's not even a strong enough word, in which everything is dark and meaningless. A necessary prelude to the discovery and the return of something that's deeply strong and filled with authentic energy. This dark night of the soul can be that intense, once-in-a-lifetime experience, or it can be recurrent. That empty void can recur in the sense of those moments when we feel hopeless, and the things we used to trust we can't trust, and we feel rootless and no place to put our feet. These are extremely important times, because it's so easy with our ego mind, our conditioned mind, to develop a sense of self-generated energy that comes from our eagerness to control things and to make things right. And it feels like a real energy, and in one sense it is, but it has no roots, it has no staying power. And the Tao gives us this wonderful gift of having that energy finally peter out, and we have to sit there and think, what happened? Where'd it go? I had a handle on this. I had it going. I had it by the tail, by golly. What happened? Wonderful gift. I've experienced it many times. In fact, I experienced it yesterday. What happened? Where did it go as I sit eating popcorn and staring into the fan of the swamp cooler and thinking, where did it go? I thought I had a handle on this. What happened? Those many moments when the self-generated energy comes to its end, as it must, and a space is made, a void, an empty void in which that energy which is rooted in the reality of things, that comes from the Tao itself, from God itself, from the universe itself, from the quantum field that fills all things, then that energy has a chance to begin to live in me. But only when I come to that point where the self-generated energy just doesn't work anymore. There's nothing more important than that empty space, than that seeming void. From what appears an empty void, we find the bounty of life. Everything begins to settle down, and in their place we find a deep tranquility that has been here waiting since before the beginning of beginningless time. Self-generated, self-created tranquility does not last. It cannot last. It's built on a false energy. But the tranquility that comes from seeing deep into that empty void that seems so nihilistic and depressive, comes the gift of true tranquility. That tranquility that's been waiting here since before the beginning of beginningless time. It's just been waiting for us to give up and say, I've been cranking the wheel for quite a while, and it worked pretty good, and I was feeling pretty good. I mean, I had a handle on it. What happened? So friends, if you're in that dark night of the soul, either deeply and pervasively, that will pass. You're being given the gift of making space for the energy and tranquility that's been waiting since before the beginning of beginningless time. If you're going through those natural dips in energy where you feel like, well, I felt like I could trust things and I had a handle and I was assured of what was going to go on and I had kind of a faith and I developed a serenity around the fact that things were going to kind of keep going on the way they were, what happened? Well, a mini dark night of the soul. That wonderful gift when your assurance and your self-generated confidence drops out from under you and you get to find the real thing. In our society, in our country today, that self-generated confidence gets a hit almost every day. Everything that we thought was trustworthy is being knocked away, and underneath it we see an empty void. We see something in which we don't know what to trust and where we can't put our feet. We see despair and hopelessness and chaos, and it's kind of scary. But it's a wonderful gift. Because the self-generated tranquility that isn't the real thing is being taken away. The real thing's been waiting since before the beginning of beginningless time. Look to it.